Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, the Shantytown demolition debate heats up. Another batch of vaccine doses arrive in the Bahamas, plus a man's decomposing body found on a soccer field. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister is dismissing a call from a group of United Nations human rights experts to halt further demolition in the farm Shantytown on Abaco. Bannister says the demolition exercise is in the best interest of the Bahamas, insisting Bahamians must decide whether they want their country to resemble Haiti. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Deputy Prime Minister was very direct in his comments as he insisted he's only doing his job and that he cannot let the Bahamas become like Haiti.
It has come to a point where we have to decide whether we're going to have a society like the Bahamas or we're going to have a society like Haiti. And any of you have been to Haiti, you'll see what happens there. Dirt, garbage, shanty houses all over the place.
Bannister was responding to a recently released statement from a group of United Nations human rights experts who argue that the forced evictions and demolitions would force residents into homelessness and extreme poverty.
If those folks want to make a statement about the Bahamas, then we could, I think as a country, as we are deporting people, if they want them to come to their neighborhood and put a shantytown in their neighborhood, that's what you should ask them. How would they feel if in their neighborhood there's a shantytown with feces going in the groundwater?
Bannister says not taking action could have serious consequences.
Consequences of me not doing my job is that we could have a spread of E. coli in Abaco. Innocent people, the water in Abaco may be contaminated and people could be sick. We could have the constant, widespread enemy in our country where people decide that they're going to go on other people's land and take it over.
The government started demolishing illegal unoccupied structures in the farm last month. Bannister said the only structures that will be demolished are those that were built since Hurricane Dorian. A 2018 Supreme Court injunction prohibits the government from demolishing shantytown structures that had already been constructed and prohibits anyone from constructing, erecting, or altering unregulated shantytown buildings anywhere in the Bahamas.
I have a number of complaints from Bahamians who are saying that when they go to their property now, they're meeting shanty houses. We are going to have to conduct an exercise in New Providence.
Bannister says that demolition exercise will be happening very soon. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Philip Davis is calling on government to stop its planned Abaco Shantytown demolitions until the issue is decided by the courts. Jared Higgs has more.
You're going to demolish shantytowns. You have to have an alternative for those persons who are living in the shantytowns.
Davis made the comments to media earlier today as the deadline looms for residents of shantytown structures in the farm Shantytown on Abaco. Government demolished 45 unfinished and unoccupied structures in mid-April and says tractors will return to demolish inhabited structures.
Until you are in a position to address the consequence of making persons homeless by destroying their homes, then you should move with caution in the manner in which you deal with that, because you're creating a larger problem.
Government says the move is necessary to prevent the proliferation of unregulated communities that it says pose a risk to wider society. But officials from the United Nations have urged government to halt its plans to demolish the shantytown homes, describing it as a serious violation of the human right to adequate housing. Davis says while he understands the challenges with shantytowns, he thinks there are other obligations to consider.
There's also a response to protecting those what I call irregular migrants who are exposing themselves to unsanitary, unhealthy conditions.
Government shantytown demolition policy is the subject of a judicial review and constitutional action that is before the courts now. Davis says with the issue before the courts, government should be guided by that.
I believe in the rule of law, and the rule of law suggests that if a matter is under consideration by the courts, allow the courts to do their work, and once they would finish, then the executives could move in and do what they think they ought to do in accordance with the ruling of the court.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
33,600 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine received through the COVAX facility arrived in the Bahamas today. National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee Chair Dr. Merceline Dahl-Regis and National Immunization Program Manager Nurse Ruth Bastian were at Jet Aviation for the arrival of the latest batch. It comes as the administration of the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine begins. The remainder of the doses slated for the Bahamas from the COVAX facility is also expected to arrive this month. Well, glitches in the vaccine appointment system preventing some people from booking their second vaccine doses. Others, like opposition leader Philip Davis, showed up and realized they weren't in the system.
One would have thought that we would be able to have it right by now. I mean, this is 1 year into, more than 1 year into this, more than 1 year into this pandemic, and we are at least 8 months, at least almost 6 months into the vaccination exercise. One would have thought that by now we've been able to have it right, get it right.
Co-chair of the National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee, Ed Field, says Davis's team was informed on Monday night in writing that he would not be able to take the second dose on Tuesday morning due to the system needed to be updated. Field says that message went unanswered. He says the issue is related to initial data entry errors and they are still working diligently to clear them up. Meanwhile, Davis urges Bahamians to get the vaccine.
I encourage Bahamians to take the vaccine. I think more public education on the part of the government is necessary to ensure that persons do take the vaccine, because the risk of not taking it, right, is more acute than if they were to take it.
A landscaper's morning routine at a soccer field ended with him stumbling upon a partially decomposed body today. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
I'm just laying on the ground there, on the side.
This landscaper cuts the grass at this Blue Hill soccer field twice a month. He was almost done just after 10 a.m. when he discovered a partially decomposed body with flies swarming around.
I was cutting the field and I saw the body over there. I called the police. They said he's a homeless. He looked like a homeless fellow. He have no shirt on, you know.
Any injuries?
Partially decomposed.
The deceased man is believed to be between 40 and 50 years old. The body was found next to the field's light pole with a blood stain at the bottom. According to police press liaison ASP Audley Peters, no foul play is suspected.
A dark male lying in a fetal position on the ground. The detective examined the body and there were no visible signs of injuries.
Police believe the body was there for at least a day or two. An autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. While the man who found the body says it appears the victim may have been homeless, Peters said it doesn't appear that way. The man was wearing dark clothing with his belt laying next to him. An appeal now being sent out to determine his identity.
We're appealing to members of the public who may have a relative that's not been seen for some time to contact the police. This person seemed to be a full-bearded, mid-age male of dark complexion to report to the police.
So what's this being classified as then?
At the moment, it's a suspicious step.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
A man is in custody following a drug bust on Cat Island, which resulted in the discovery of $1.6 million worth of suspected cocaine. Police press liaison officer ASP Audley Peters says an aircraft was observed leaving Haiti sometime after 12 p.m. on Monday during a joint operation between the U.S. Customs, Coast Guard, and DEU officers.
That aircraft landed in Long Island and left immediately. It later landed on the island of Cat Island, where a male was seen disembarking the aircraft with two multicolored suitcases. The male ran into nearby bushes. However, one of the surveillance aircraft landed and officers from that craft pursued the male. However, he made good his escape.
Officers discovered 2 suitcases containing 58 black packages with suspected cocaine. While police are unable to say if that suspect is still in the country, they did manage to arrest the pilot.
The aircraft that landed on the island went on to Cat Island, where the pilot was later arrested by officers on the island of Cat Island. The suspect that is in custody gives his age as 38, and he's believed to be a Bahamian national.
Mostly sunny and humid conditions in the capital today. Greg Thompson has the latest in the Weather Center.
Hey Christina, and happy Tuesday evening everybody. A warm day around the islands. Once again, temperatures managed to get back up into the mid to upper 80s with some 90s across the chain of islands. 77 outside our studios right now with just a few clouds. We're calling it warm. Temperatures going to remain feeling kind of warm this evening. Your southeast winds very light at around 5 knots. Satellite view, we have a slug of moisture now moving across the southeast and central Bahamas, increasing the chances for some shower activity across the island chain today. We expect the slug of moisture to continue moving towards the north. A couple isolated thunderstorms as well across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Things quieting down for the evening. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, COVID cases prompt tighter restrictions at homes for the elderly. Plus, tourism officials seeing 5,000 health visa applications daily. That's coming up when our news returns.
Please be advised that REV has commenced mass disconnection exercises for all accounts with outstanding balances of 90 days or more. Delinquent account holders are advised to pay their bill immediately to avoid service interruption. Simply call us on 605-PAYS or WhatsApp 829-PAYS to make payments or to discuss payment options. Failure to do so will result in service disconnection. To view and pay your bill online anytime, simply visit my.rev.bs.
A resident of a senior citizen's home has died and another 5 were infected with COVID-19, according to the Social Services Minister. Berthany McDermott reports.
6 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 1 death among residents of elderly homes on New Providence have prompted officials to tighten restrictions at all facilities, according to Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell.
We have isolated the persons, and I'm pleased to say that based on the quarantine time given by the medical professionals, it ends today, and my report this morning is that all of our homes today, as I stand before you, COVID-free.
In addition to those 6 residents, Campbell said 4 staff members were infected. Campbell said those infected were isolated and visitations were suspended.
Persons who have family members are allowed to bring items, but there is no commingling, no that kind of stuff at this time.
During the onset of the vaccine rollout, Campbell said they made vaccinations available to all residents and staff members. However, he could not say how many of them got the jab.
At the beginning of the COVID pandemic, the necessary protocols were put in place. At the launch of the vaccine program, all of our seniors in our homes and the staff were offered the vaccine. All of our seniors and staff exercised their rights. Some accepted and some didn't.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, travel demand to the Bahamas has increased dramatically following a recent change in travel protocols, allowing fully vaccinated tourists to enter the country without COVID testing, according to Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar, who says they are averaging about 5,000 health visa applications a day. However, he says there have been difficulties keeping up with the increase in requests.
So it's going very smoothly. We've seen an absolute explosion in the number of people that are applying. As you can imagine, when we had the PCR test, people could only apply within 5 days of travel. Now when you have a vaccine, you could apply months in advance. So that somewhat overloaded the website.
While some have questioned the ability of the government to ensure documentation from travelers is legitimate, de Aguilar maintains that is not an issue.
Most of our foreign visitors are coming from the United States, in excess of 90%. And most of those travelers have a card from the CDC that shows the type of visa, type of vaccine, and the date at which both doses were applied. So it's fairly straightforward for us to see when the vaccine was given, what type of vaccine was administered. We only accept AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, and J&J.
The Cabinet Office launching its new e-Cabinet information management system, which Minister of State for Finance Kwesi Thompson says will improve business processes. The system is designed to automate cabinet proceedings, immigration papers, conclusions, and extracts. Officials say the cost of the e-Cabinet platform is $600,000.
E-Cabinet is a collaborative tool for communication between our key stakeholders and authorized users who will be able to access the system, utilize the system, communicate with each other 24/7, 365 days of the year. Ministers will be able to comment on the memorandum prior to the meetings, advancing their queries, their opinions, and support whether or not, and also indicate whether or not they support the papers. This will save time in the actual meeting.
Today's cabinet meeting was the first hosted on the platform, and Thompson says the e-Cabinet system will reduce the carbon footprint and eliminate paper. He adds they've put special parameters in place to make the platform secure.
Protection of sensitive data remains a priority for the government. To this end, you will appreciate that stringent security measures are in place and that the advanced security features are consistent with industry quality standards. It will also enable tracking and increase of transparency. The system tracks cabinet memorandum and provides live updates about access to the system and who and when information was received and distributed.
Still to come, meet the F&M candidate for Garden Hills, plus Jazz Chisholm's return from injury. The details when our news returns.
Please be advised that REV has commenced mass disconnection exercises for all accounts with outstanding balances of 90 days or more. Delinquent account holders are advised to pay their bill immediately to avoid service interruption. Simply call us on 605-PAYS or WhatsApp 829-PAYS to make payments or to discuss payment options. Failure to do so will result in service disconnection. To view and pay your bill online anytime, simply visit my.rev.bs.
This is our news. Welcome back. A well-known businessman is throwing his hat into the ring this election season in the hopes of keeping Garden Hills in the F&M's win column. He spoke with Kyle Joaquin in tonight's edition of Meet the Candidate.
I said to the Lord, if you would help me to achieve my goals, to make a good living for myself and my family, I will help as many people as I can along the way, and I will give back in service through either politics or the clergy.
3 decades after saying that prayer, Stephen Greenslade hopes to continue to bring it all to fruition. A husband, father, and grandfather, he knows about the importance of family. Having grown up in several communities like Shantytown and Sunlight Village, he says he knows hard work and determination can take you places you'd never imagine.
My childhood was filled with changes, if you will, and it caused me to be someone who thinks a lot, plans ahead, and sticks to the execution.
He started a business at the age of 24, and now at the age of 52 is the proud CEO of ICS Security Concepts, which employs over 400 Bahamians.
We're in the central monitoring station at ICS of Bahamas Company Limited, or you can say the control room. This is where the hub of communication for the organization, technical service, guard services.
A former police officer, Greenslade is looking to bring his expertise in that field and business-savvy mindset to frontline politics as he runs on the Free National Movement's ticket to become the next MP for Garden Hills.
And that's one of the things I want to do in Garden Hills, a proper system that monitors the main entrance and exit points of the community and some of the vulnerable areas of the community, that we'll be able to determine what type of activities are taking place in those areas. And if anything happens, we'll be able to detect it quickly and effectively.
Working with hundreds of employees and now his campaign team, Greenslade says he simply enjoys positively impacting the lives of others.
You're looking at an individual who care about people.
With this edition of Meet the Candidate for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
And in sports tonight, Jazz Chisholm close to returning to the Marlins lineup following an injury. Marcellus Hall has the rundown.
All right, thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. He's not quite all the way back, but he is getting close. Jazz Chisholm, our Bahamian baseball star, has begun his rehab stint and just about ready to get back on the field for the Miami Marlins. Here's more. Good news for Bahamians as Major League Baseball player Jazz Chisholm is getting closer and closer to making his return to the Florida Marlins lineup. Jazz, who is considered to be a front-runner for the National League Rookie of the Year, has been on the injured list for the Florida Marlins since suffering a hamstring strain on April 27. That came in a game versus the Milwaukee Brewers. In that game, Jazz led off with an infield single, then would steal second, at which time it is believed he sustained the injury. He was cleared to resume running on Wednesday of last week and has since begun taking ground balls and hitting. Meanwhile, the Marlins have been relying on Isan Diaz, whom Jazz beat out for that second base starting job during spring training, to fill in with him being out. As for Jazz, he's scheduled to begin a rehab stint with AAA Jacksonville this afternoon. Should all go well, he is expected to rejoin the Marlins by the end of the weekend. And so there you have it. Our check on sports for you on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. Still to come, meet the Grand Bahama student who scored top marks in the BJC exams right after this.
Please be advised that REV has commenced mass disconnection exercises for all accounts with outstanding balances of 90 days or more. Delinquent account holders are advised to pay their bill immediately to avoid service interruption. Simply call us on 605-PAYS or WhatsApp 829-PAYS to make payments or to discuss payment options. Failure to do so will result in service disconnection. To view and pay your bill online anytime, simply visit my.rev.bs.
Welcome back to our news. Temperatures hovering around the mid-80s. Here's Greg over in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christina, and a happy Thursday evening once again, everybody. Warm day around the islands. That seems to be the story of the week, as that high-pressure system remains in charge. We do have some low-level moisture moving across the central and southeastern islands, triggering off a few isolated showers. Surface trough to the north of the Bahamas, also triggering some isolated thunderstorms across that area. Frontal boundary is expected to get here sometime by Thursday into Friday, so it looks like it's as though we're going to get some showers Friday into Saturday, with things clearing up for the weekend. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the southeast to south, but becoming more southeasterly tomorrow, 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. While we have a caution flag posted for the southeast Bahamas, east to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. Looks like we could get some well-needed showers for the weekend. We keep our fingers crossed. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Top student for the Bahamas Junior Certificate Examination on Grand Bahama, Hazel Taylor, says she felt calm when she got the news of this amazing achievement. Taylor received an A in Spanish language, religion, health science, general science, and math while in the 8th grade.
I got 6 A's on all my BJCs that I took. I just felt calm when I found out the news.
You were obviously prepared.
Yes, I was prepared. Well, I basically set a schedule in place so I could follow day by day each subject. And my mom was by my side to prepare me all the way.
The 2020 school year featured mostly virtual classes. However, the 9th grade student said she couldn't let the setbacks stop her from achieving her goal. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas. A new episode of Broke Bosses starts now.